All right, everybody. Well, we're going to talk about the close today, which is at the same time the most important and also the smallest part of the sale. This is where we go from turning somebody who is very interested into somebody who has signed on the dotted line. Oftentimes, what people think about when they think of closing is, some sort of manipulation, and that is not at all what we do here, and that is not at all what it is that we are trying to do. The close is the best way to put it is it's about resolving doubts in a way that makes sense, in a way that is mutually beneficial for people. So, one of the truths that I talked about that is absolutely the case, and this is going to sound a little weird in the English of it, but all people are like this. And that is that people enjoy being comfortable. Okay? Nobody will change until the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change. Now that sounds weird when you think about it, but what essentially that means is that nobody is going to change until they have to, until they feel like, okay, my life currently or my situation currently is worse than my situation would be if I did something different. That's just the case. I mean, people will. I know that I probably should be in better shape than I am. And I know that. But until the pain of me being out of shape is such that I feel like I need to work out more, then am I going to work out more? I tell myself I need to. I know that I need to, but I don't. So that concept is the same with the close. Okay? So when we're closing people, we have to understand and recognize that that's going to be the case. Okay? Most of the time, no matter how effective this system is going to be for somebody, most of the time, their idea is, well, I want to say no because it means change. It means I need to do something. And that's okay. As long as we expect that and understand that that's what's going to happen, we can handle that just fine. So, you go into the close. When I close, I started out when I finished my presentation, I just asked very simply any questions. If they say no, and I said, okay, great. Well, we can get you started right away, and I'll move into just assuming that they're going to close. And you know what? It has worked before. I have sold quick units, but I say, okay, great. Well, let's get you started, and the person starts filling out the paperwork. But most of the time, though, that's not the case. Most of the time, people will go, well, actually, I'm just concerned about, and then they'll start going into the close, which is where you need this phone call. So, first thing that is important to understand is that, I guess the second thing is, the first thing is the pain change. Second thing that's important to understand is that usually the first one or two things that they're going to throw at you are what I call straw men. Which means they are not real concerns. Don, I'm glad that you're on the phone because Don can attest when we were talking to the furniture store in Salt Lake. We went in there and she was like, well, is there a contract? And I said, yes, because I will never do any contracts with anything ever. And we both kind of rolled our eyes and it was like, okay, if you own a phone, then you're in a contract. If you rent an apartment or a house or something, you're in a contract. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. The contract is the way the world works. So she was just throwing that out there as a straw man. What her real concern was is she didn't think she was going to get enough repeat business as a furniture store to make it worth her while. So what was interesting is she said, I have the contract. I just never do contracts. And so our tendency as salesmen is to immediately start trying to prove whatever is thrown at us wrong, right? There's the contract. Well, okay, I'm going to start talking about why the contract is, a good thing or, something like that. The fact of the matter is what's most important to do, and you're going to spend a lot of time, spend a lot of unnecessary time, if you don't get down to what the real problem is. Okay? So, knocking down straw man, the first thing in terms of knocking down straw man has to do with the pitch. And within the pitch, I like to do a few simple things just to try to knock down the straw men before they get brought up. The first thing, there's two major straw men that are going to get brought up. One is, oh, the contract, and the second one is, oh, the price. Fact of the matter is, this is a very inexpensive program. And so somebody's like, oh, it's just the price is so high. It's like, okay, come on. And the contract, oh my gosh, there's a contract. There's a contract in everything. Who are we trying to get? Have you ever watched TV before? I mean, come on. So, what I like to do when I'm doing the pitch is try to knock down the first two most common straw men during the pitch, which means when I say things like, I go through the benefits of it and the value proposition, and then I'll say things like, and the best part about Click is how inexpensive it is. It's only $100 a month. Okay? So when I say that, I've already established between us that $100 a month is not expensive. Not only that, but I'll even go a little bit further on it. The best part about Click is how inexpensive it is. Only $100 a month, which, and I know what you're thinking, doesn't even pay my car payment. So how do we make money as a company? Well, we make money over time. Our job is to make sure you're so excited about this client, or just you're so excited about this product that you're going to be a client of ours for life. So what we do is we work with you for a couple of years first to see how it goes, build your database, have that work really, really well for you, and then we keep re-signing it. And, frankly, we have a 90% re-sign rate with our clients. So we do a pretty good job of making sure you're really happy and excited about the product. In less than 60 seconds, I've knocked down the first two straw men before they even have the ability to ask those questions. And how the hell it's inexpensive? Doesn't even pay my car payment. How do we make money then? Well, we make money over time. So that means, we'll take a little expensive. Well, $100 a month, like I said, doesn't even pay my car payment. You know what I mean? That all of a sudden puts them in this position where they go, well, yeah, you're right, $100 a month is like my kid's cell phone bill because they text all the time, right? So that's the first thing I do, knock down that one, and then the second thing, we make our money over time. First, we just, we get things going for a couple of years, a 2-year agreement by helping you build your database, and obviously as your database grows over time, this becomes more and more valuable for you, and then next thing you've got 100,000 people in your database. So you're making this idea of time a good thing. The value of the Click unit grows over time. So you should want to be in this for as long as you possibly can be. You're going to have a database of your clients. You're going to be able to reach out to and bring in the investments whenever you want to. So how valuable is that going to be for you? So you knock down the first two straw men during the pitch. That's what I like to do. If you forget to do that, which, we're all human, and so we might at some point. I just usually try to be brutally honest with people who go, oh man, that's really expensive. I go, whoa, really? Because actually this is a pretty inexpensive form of loyalty. You're talking about, some other marketing form, which is $3,000 a month for a billboard, and that's completely untrackable. You have no idea how much money what's happening, and just throwing money out the window and expecting and hoping that something happens. That's something you can measure. I'll use things like that. But generally speaking, you can knock down those first two straw men, which aren't the real concern there. So, like Don can attest, the real concern was, she just didn't think that it was going to work for her because, she sold furniture. It's a little higher ticket price than, a restaurant or a clothing store or something like that. And so she was nervous that, spend $1,000 to get something off because that's a pretty high loyalty program. She's right, Another good example, a car dealership, for example, how you buy 10 cars, get one free, they're never going to do that. So, with her, I just said, hey, she started bringing up the contract and stuff, and we started kind of into resolving that doubt. Really, I just stopped her and said, so look, I don't want to be a pushy salesman. So this is where my second piece of the public open. And when it comes to the actual close, the first thing is try to knock down a straw man before they get brought up because they're not real concerns. The second thing is, and this is a very, very interesting point, and I mean this when I say it, and I want you to internalize it. Because if 30 years from now, you only learn one thing from Michael Horne, I hope that this is the best part of wisdom that I can possibly pass on to you. That is, You can say anything if you preface it correctly. Anything. Okay? As long as it's prefaced correctly, you can say anything. You can tell him your girlfriend or wife that she's fat if prefaced correctly. It's the most horrible things you can possibly think of to have to say. You can do those things if prefaced correctly. So, therefore, what I like to do is preface correctly what I'm about to say. And I am, with this person, and I'm bringing up this point only because it's fresh in my memory and gone on the line. But what we said was, so I basically just said, you know what? I don't want to be a pushy salesman. So, is this something you're actually interested in? Do you see value in it? And she said, what, honestly, no. I don't think that my customers are going to want to buy 10 pieces of furniture and get one free. And, it could be a little bit more complicated than that, but she said, honestly, no. Wonderful. Fantastic. Great. Thank you for your time, and leave. She's not interested. She was not impressed by it. She didn't like technology. Her 95-year-old father, who owns the place, was sitting next to us with a cane, staring off into space, clearly not understanding technology, and that was fine. I mean, that was just one of those things you just recognize. Part of the closing is you recognize the actuality of what's happening. Most people, when you say, look, I don't want to be a pushy salesman. But the funny thing about it is when I say I don't want to be a pushy salesman, what am I doing? I'm going to be a pushy salesman exactly right after that. I don't want to be a pushy salesman, but are you interested or not? But it's kind of pushy, but at the same time, it's just, let's just be honest with each other. I don't want to song and dance. You don't want to be song and dance by salesmen. That's not what you want to do. They don't. Nobody wants to be song and dance by a salesman. So, therefore, question is this. I don't want to be pushy salesman, right? Okay, great. Are you really interested in this product or not? Because if you are, well, let's figure out a way to make this work. If you're not, no problem at all. And honestly, a lot of people say, no, I am interested in it. And then they'll cut to the chase. They'll go, but my concern is fill in the blank, okay? That's what you're trying to get to. That's what you're trying to get to, because once you can get to the actual concern, okay, be strong and not the, I just don't want to change, I just don't want to do this. You get to the actual concern, and then you can actually resolve it. There was an Asian market up in Idaho that I did this with. And it was a funny thing because when you knock down all those comments, I was like, look, are you interested in this thing? And the guy was like, yeah, I am. Okay. So what's stopping you from doing it? And it was funny because he didn't actually have a concern. What he ended up doing is just sitting there in silence, kind of looking at the quick unit for about 10 seconds. Silence, didn't say anything. Look at it for 10 seconds. Which means I know he wants it. I know he's doing it. He's this. He's already sold on the idea. What he's trying to do is trying to, figure out how it is he's going to use it, or maybe how he's going to tell his wife that, hey, we just bought a new toy. Whatever it is that he's trying to tell, or he's trying to figure out. I just be quiet. So the next part, okay, once you figure out what the concern is, resolve the doubts, and there's a bunch of different doubts. Real doubts, most commonly, and Bob and I actually saw this with one of the contracts we signed. Most commonly is, I just got to think about this. Some people do. Some people just won't make a decision that day. Like, I'm always sleep on things before I make a decision. Just go and sleep on it. Great, no problem. The way that you want to tackle that concern, okay, is and that's the most common legitimate concern. Is to me is always just, hey, I just want a day to think about it. Reputation is wonderful, no problem at all. Never, ever, ever leave that business ever with them saying, yeah, I'll call you. You do that, you're toast. They're never going to call you. They're not. There's a 95% chance you just plain old lost the contract. It's over. Forget it. You just write it off right there. Okay? They just won't, because once again, the philosophy from the beginning. Nobody wants to change. They just want to be comfortable. And calling you and actually being proactive in doing something is them making a change and not being comfortable. They actually have to do something. Nobody wants to do anything. Everybody wants to do anything. So, what you need there, if somebody says, okay, I am going to think about this, you say, no problem at all. And it's exactly what Don and I did. Don says, okay, when are you going to be available? I can choose that in tomorrow or the next day. Which works for you? You're like, the next day. Wonderful. I'll cruise back in on, it was a Friday, Friday at 3 or whatever it was. Great. So I'm cruised back in there, so I'm signing a deal. Worked out perfectly, okay? But what he did, what was smart, was he didn't leave there without having a set appointment, okay? So when that concern gets brought up, I'm just going to think about things. That's fine. That's okay. Wonderful. When can I follow up with you? What day? I'll be back in this neighborhood on Friday. Does that work? Okay? Make sure that you're physically there. So, well, just call me and see. Call me and see is a nice way of saying, kiss off. It is. It's a nice way of saying kiss off. So you just call me later. Well, you can say, I'm going to be in the neighborhood. Can I cruise back around 3? Oh, why don't you just call me? And if I get that twice, if I say, look, I'm going to be in the neighborhood, no sweat at all, just cruise on by. Why don't you just call me? Then I'll go back to the look. I don't want to be a pushy sales. If it's something you're interested in truly, I'll do that. Because then if there's a concern that I haven't resolved, or that he or she hasn't brought up, then they will. And when they do, you at least know what battle you're fighting, okay? And then, each concern, if they have an interesting concern, some concerns might be something like, well, I'm afraid that, people are going to get bothered by receiving texts. That's not actually the case at all. The fact of the matter is that the preferred form of communication is texting. 3 times as many text messages as sent as phone calls made every day in the United States. People would prefer to get a text message than any other form of communication. Well, you know what I mean? So there's there's certain concerns that you can resolve, other concerns that you have to know what you're doing. And so the second major concern that is a legitimate concern is I have to talk to my partner or wife or husband, right? I have to talk to my partner. We'll call them. I have to talk to my partner. Concern. Here's what's going to happen if you say, oh, no problem. Why don't you go talk to your partner and then I'll come back in tomorrow. So setting up a follow-up appointment and making sure that's set in stone is the right thing to do. Problem is that here's what's going to happen, okay? You have been trained on how to sell products, okay? You listen to my training calls, you talk to Carl, you understand the product, that's what you do, okay? This person flips burgers for a living, or, designs clothing, or whatever it is, the business on the does, okay? They're going to go to their partner, and the conversation is going to go something like this. Hey, so there's this guy that came into our business and wanted to talk to me about this new loyalty thing. It's like a tablet or like an iPad something, but not quite. So like a texting thing. That's what they're gonna say. And they're gonna be like, what the heck are you talking about? Why would I want to have something to do with some sort of tablet kind of texting thing? It doesn't explain to me at all what's going on, nor does it tell me the value it's going to add to my business, okay? The person who is going to explain it to their business partner is not trained on how to do that, okay? This is your job. This is what you do. So it's very important to try as hard as you can to get in front of that person. Okay? So I have to talk to my partner about it. Wonderful. I use this excuse, okay? You don't want to be offensive. You don't want to say, well, I'll tell you what, you're going to screw that whole thing up so we talk to them. That's not what you want to say. What you want to say is you want to, once again, back to the philosophy from the beginning. Nobody wants to do anything, okay? Nobody wants to have to change. Nobody wants to do anything. Everybody wants to be lazy. So I feed into that. I say, well, I'll tell you what, you're a busy person. This is my job. I don't mind at all. I'm going to be back in, I'm going to be around your area all week. When is the time that your partner is going to be in the store and I can cruise on by and show it to them? And it's no sweat for me because, that's what I do. So, in a way, what I'm doing is exactly what they want me to do. They don't want to do anything. I'm saying, I'll do all the work for you. No sweat at all. When can I cruise in and do all the work for you? That's the impression you're trying to give off, because what you're trying to do is get to be able to explain them and not have the person who you just told this to completely watch the presentation, because that's what's going to happen. So, the major 2 legitimate concerns, like we talked about before, one, I just need some time to think about it. Second one, I need to talk to the partner. Okay, so we always leave a set follow-up appointment. Has to be set in stone. Thursday at 3, Friday at 2, whenever. Okay, set in stone. Second thing. Okay, don't trust the business owner or whomever to explain it to their partner correctly, because they're not trained on how to explain the value of click people. You are. So it's your job to try and make sure that you're the one I'm talking to, that person's not them. Okay? Those will be two major concerns. There are going to be other concerns that get brought up that are, odd things. You never know. One of them with a guy was, well, I have a deli in the back of my place and I have something up front here. How do I handle where I put the kiosk? You know what I mean? There's going to be little things like that you're going to have to resolve. And that's going to take some just common sense of, oh, well, put the kiosk here as opposed to there, stuff like that. So, legitimate concerns and reasons why those are them. Let's just kind of recap here. First thing, everybody, I'm going to just call it is. Everybody wants to be lazy. Nobody wants to do anything. That being the case, understand that is what is happening with most businesses. They don't want to change. They don't want to do anything. Okay. Next thing. The first probably one or two concerns they're going to throw at you, or reasons why they're not going to do it. Not concerns, because they might actually ask questions like, well, how do I can send text messages? No, that's not a strong answer. Reasons why they can't sign up with us are the first two are probably going to be strong enough. So try to knock those out. Try to knock out it's too expensive and the contract is too long. Try to knock those two out before you even get to the final close. So after you try to knock those two out during the presentation, you ask any more questions. They say no. You say wonderful. Let's get started. They say, well, wait a second. I need to. Then they'll say something. Okay. Let me ask you a question. I don't want to be a pushy salesman, right? You don't want me to be a pushy salesman. So, are you truly interested in this product? Yes, I am interested in the product. Great. Well, let's figure out a way to make this work. So, what's stopping you from doing it? Okay? So, come out and have them say if they don't just sign on the dotted line, get them to come out and tell you what the actual concern is, the actual reason why they're not doing it. And it's okay to say that. Okay? The other philosophy you have to think about with this is, until they sign on the dotted line, they've already said so anyways. And so them saying no again doesn't change anything. Doesn't matter to you. Every business out there right now that isn't paying you a commission has essentially told you no. So you have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. Okay? So just go out there fearless and say, look, do you like the product? It's a very cool product. Most people do like the product. Almost everybody likes the product. Yes, I like the product. Wonderful. Let's figure out a way to make it work. So, what are your honest concerns? And let's see if we can address them and figure out how to make this work. And get it out of them. What is the real concern? Okay? If it's one of those two that I talked about, make sure you have a set time that you're going to come back in and either talk to the person again and follow up, or you're going to try and talk to that business owner, the decision maker's partner. Okay? Make sure you're the one doing it. And you can re-explain everything to them, go over stuff, really talk about the concerns, and you're going to sign deals. If you do these things, you're going to sign deals. You will. You'll get contracts. You'll make money. This is a great product. The fact of the matter is that this is a new, hot, sexy thing out there on the market for small businesses. It's this. It was texting for a while, and now it's turned into this. Okay? Only 0.1% of all small businesses have one of these forms of marketing, and probably 20 to 25% of them will in the next 5 years. So we're going to be the ones to go and bring it to them. There's a lot of money to be made in this market. It's a perfect market, just wide open pastures. Any questions or comments? I hope most of you guys have my cell phone number. Also, my email is mhorne, that's MHORNE, at savvydirect.com, SAVVIDIRECT.com. Shoot me an email if you have any questions, concerns, you want a little bit of TLC, and I can do some one-on-one time talking about some anchor concerns you get from businesses, help train some other things as well. I'm always available. This is my job.